There is a kind of airdrop farming where the thing that qualifies you is not what you traded, not what you staked, and not how long you locked capital, but simply what you held in your wallet as a collectible when a snapshot was taken. I mean the NFT airdrops, where a project looks at who held a particular collection at a moment in time and drops tokens to those wallets. The pitch could not be cleaner. Buy the right piece, hold it, and qualify. The catch is that an NFT is the easiest thing to buy in bulk at the last minute and the hardest to hold in a way that means anything, which makes a single snapshot of holders one of the softest signals a project can lean on. I run real proxy and cloud phone farms for a living, and I treat airdrop farming as operations rather than a lottery, which means I watch the signals that are hard to fake and the costs that are easy to ignore. None of what follows is financial advice. None of it predicts a token or a price, and nothing here promises you a drop of any kind. It is simply how these programs measure people. Why holding a collectible is such a tempting and fragile thing to farm, and what holds up when a project finally decides who its real holders were. So start with what an NFT actually is, briefly and honestly. It is a token that is unique rather than interchangeable, a on-chain marker that says this specific wallet holds this specific item in a collection. Most of the time it works as a membership card, proof that you minted early or bought your way into a community, and it is trivial to check on chain. One query at a snapshot lists every wallet that held. So a young project rewards its own holders to thank the minters, or rewards a blue chip collection to court an established community. It is the same retroactive pattern you see everywhere, easy to measure and outwardly fair, which is exactly why it gets gamed. Because here is the trap that is special to holding. An NFT is the easiest membership in the world to buy at the last minute. The moment a snapshot is even rumored, floor buyers rush the collection, buy the cheapest piece, sit on it for a week, and present themselves as long-standing members of a community they joined the day before. Raw holding at one snapshot with nothing behind it is a soft signal, the one people work hardest to fake by simply buying in late. A wallet holding the right JPEG proves it had the floor price and a rumor, and very little else. So a serious distribution leans on what a floor buyer cannot manufacture on the day, because one snapshot is cheap to game. The honest measurements look at how long you actually held, rather than whether you held at an instant, whether you minted early or swept the floor late, whether you held through the drawdowns instead of flipping at the first bounce, and whether you used the membership at all. It is the same shape as every honest airdrop, depth and longevity together, with a sharp discount on a wallet that bought in the week the reward was rumored and would sell the moment the snapshot passed. There is a trap that lives on the marketplaces themselves, and it is worth naming plainly: wash trading. Because some programs looked at trading activity and marketplace rank, operators sold the same NFT between two of their own wallets, passing it back and forth to run up volume and look like an active market. It is one of the easiest patterns to recognize, because a real market has many independent buyers, while a wash loop is the same two wallets trading one token in a circle that goes nowhere. A distribution built to find real holders sets that looped activity aside. And there is a plain cost reality underneath all of it, because an NFT is never free and rarely liquid. You pay the mint or the floor, you pay marketplace fees, and often a royalty on top. And when you want out, there may be no buyer at your price at all. That is the risk unique to this corner. A floor is only worth what the next buyer will actually pay, and in a cold market, that number can fall toward nothing while you watch. You can hold the right piece through the right snapshot and still see the collection empty out and the token never arrive, with no bid there when you finally need one. Sweeping 100 floor pieces across 100 wallets is real money locked in an illiquid collectible to look like 100 members, which is why the rule I hold on to is to only hold a piece I would genuinely want anyway, with no reward attached. There is an identity reality here too, and like everywhere on chain, it lives in the funding. A wallet is just a key pair, free to generate by the thousand, which is why generating them is never the signal. The moment you fund a swarm of them to each buy the same collection, you draw a funding graph, a plain picture of where the money came from. Fund 100 wallets from one exchange withdrawal. Send them all to sweep one floor piece in the same afternoon. And you have tied every one of them together at the root before the snapshot is ever taken. Now the defensive part. Explain the way I always explain it, from the outside and honestly. A project and the analyst designing its distribution, no one operator will buy a whole crowd of memberships, wallets funded from the same place, all buying the same collection in the same narrow window, often buying from one another to move the pieces around. That coordinated block reads as precisely what it is, one entity wearing many hats, the same way a cluster of trading wallets gives itself away anywhere on chain. I am describing how that detection works so you understand the terrain, not handing you a method to slip through it. This is why farms of near identical holders get discounted, often wholesale. Real communities are messy. People buy in at different times and prices. Some minted at the start, and some bought the dip. Some hold a single piece, and some hold several. 100 wallets that each bought one floor piece on the same afternoon from the same funding source and did nothing else with it do not look like 100 devoted members. They look like one operator counted 100 times. The clustering reads the shared funding, the identical purchase, the synchronized timing, and the wallets trading among themselves, and sets the whole block aside. It is worth stopping on what an allow list spot or a holder points balance actually is, because NFT projects are built to make them feel like a guaranteed entitlement. They are not. An allow list place, a holder row, a badge that says you are eligible, is a private scoreboard the team is keeping, a promise it may later convert into a token on whatever terms it decides. A glowing eligible next to your collection is a decision that has not been made, and treating it as a reward already in hand is the cleanest way to lock real money in a JPEG for a season and receive very little. The timing lesson from the rest of airdrop farming carries straight over. Holding history accumulates, and you cannot backdate it. A wallet that buys a floor piece the week a snapshot is rumored has exactly that much behind it, however firmly it holds the right collection that day, while a wallet that minted and held through a year of the collection's quiet life carries a weight the late one cannot manufacture. Being early here is not a purchase you rush at the last minute to sit inside a snapshot, it is membership you actually carried through the stretches when there was no reward in sight. The risks here are real and worth stating without spin. A project can snapshot its holders, take your locked capital and your attention, and never issue a token at all. It can issue one and draw its line at the wallets that minted, or held longest, or held more than a single piece, and leave every late floor buyer out. It can change the criteria after the snapshot, or decide the swept pieces no longer count, and underneath it all the collectible itself can go illiquid or worthless regardless of any drop. This is real capital at real risk held in an asset you may not be able to sell against a decision you do not control. Read the actual rules of each program too, because they genuinely differ. Some reward any holder at a single snapshot, some wait how long you held, some count only the wallets that minted, some take several snapshots across months or look at whether you participated, and some go out of their way to penalize the obvious sweeping of one collection across a swarm. Those are different worlds, and assuming the wrong one can waste real money on an illiquid JPEG, I will not tell you a given collection or project is safe, legit, or a scam as a blanket label, because that is not mine to declare in the abstract. Read what the team publishes about how it thinks of real holders and judge it on what it shows you. Treat the whole thing with plain ops discipline. Keep an honest record of every collection you hold, from which wallet, what you paid, how long you have held it, and whether you would hold it with no drop at the end. Then read that record without sentiment and prune it. A piece you only swept for the points, whose floor has quietly bled out beneath you, is a cost to stop carrying, not a membership to defend. The operators who do well here are not the ones holding 100 swept memberships across a swarm. They are the ones holding a couple of communities they genuinely belong to. What actually protects you is holding you would do anyway. A wallet that genuinely minted or bought into a community you care about, held it like a member through the quiet months, and showed up as yourself is indistinguishable from a real holder for the simplest possible reason. It is one. There is no swarm to hide inside, no funding trail to explain, no wash loop to account for, because you are not performing membership across a crowd of clones, you are holding as yourself. If my only reason to sweep a floor piece is the drop, I weigh the illiquid money and the fees I would lock up to get there, and usually I leave it alone. So the reframe I would leave you with is this. Farming NFT airdrops is not a scheme to sweep the same floor piece across a swarm of wallets until you hold 100 memberships you never earned. It is a decision about which communities you would genuinely join and hold as one person, through the quiet as well as